The number one core value I live by, if you look into the real estate space, you will see it everywhere. Personal development is all in the real estate space. It is not in the trades. People don't understand it's your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, your ability to run your business. Yep. It's your freedom. And you should constantly pay yourself to be in the rooms. I did not start doing it this way. I failed out of college. I've been to AA. I've been nearly almost divorced many times. When I met my wife, started cleaning up my act. And my higher purpose of helping people in the roofing business and teaching has been the one thing that saved me.
Guys, we're with our good friend Lee Haight. How you doing, man?
Hey, brother, man. Thanks for having me, bud.
Dude, excited to talk to you. You know, it's not often I get to meet someone else that scaled a large exterior services company. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of fun conversations. But I think one of the things that comes top of my mind is, you know, at least when I was growing up, there was a lot of shade thrown at construction services. You know,
man, I'll tell you what, that's a driving force. I was almost like embarrassed to tell people my dad was a roofer. My mom, she wanted me to be an architect, an attorney, maybe some of these different things.
Yeah.
My heroes were the guys that were in the field. You know, I looked up to the construction sales guys that were that I grew up around, and so I didn't start nailing. I started knocking.
Yeah, but you need both skill sets in many respects to scale a company.
Oh my God! I swear, I wish I would have taken more of a tradesman approach. Now, with AI taking more of the jobs, starting with your hands, that gives somebody confidence because they have competence in something.
Yeah.
And then they can communicate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of curiosity. What do you think? Why do you think the marketplace shifted originally towards the kind of like frown on construction trade services when it's one of the most lucrative?
If you think about it, it doesn't. Well, Jesus was a carpenter. I see him back there.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
And so he was one of the blue collars that's right. Of course, made a big difference in the world, raised the status for blue collar entrepreneurs everywhere.
That's right.
And my point is of course, like sort of that's my mission is like I was privileged. My dad taught me roofing business, the entrepreneur side of it, the sales side of it. And I feel like, if I don't give away what was freely given to me, I've always been motivated to teach people the business. And even like my first years, bringing people from my high school to come work with me, I've been motivated to teach people like the whole time. I can just say like the shift, the reason why they don't like it is because it's freedom, it's empowering. It's not something that's like college that you have to pay for. I mean, they want you in debt. They want you to be the 9-to-5 guy. Yeah. I mean, the idea now that the blue collar businesses are the ones that the private equity and Wall Street are after because we're essential. I mean, you look at, whether it's recession or it's a pandemic or it's some sort of who knows what can happen this election year. Yeah. One thing's for sure. There's going to be homes that need to be built and there's going to be roofs that need to be done.
And there's going to be storms that are come through and tear the homes up to be redone again. So.
And absolutely. And that's another thing. I mean, yes, there's more guys that become in the insurance restoration. We almost multiply like it's almost like a virus. Like it just multiplies. And it's like, is this going to get so competitive that it's just ending the game? Because what's happening is the insurance companies are raising the burden of the homeowner. The deductible's higher. They're responsible for more. The policy, the insurance contracts changing because there's people that are getting educated about it.
Yeah.
And that's really, but that does not going to change that there's more roofs for the storms to damage. The storms are getting worse. There's going to be more damage no matter what.
Absolutely. Well, it's one of the things I like about what you've been doing is it's not just focused on building a great business because you've done that. It's not just focused on kind of just building up great entrepreneurs behind you, other roofing companies that you're trying to obviously work with and build up. But one of the things that I thought was really interesting, I was listening to a podcast you and Brad did not long ago. And one of the things that I thought was really unique because, everybody is like solar super sexy and has been sexy and all this kind of stuff. And you're like, well, wait a minute. They're missing the vertical integration operation. Like they need to be doing roofs and you were one of the first ones to do that. I'm curious to know what gave you the insight to really kind of lean into that.
Well, I got to give credit to the solar industry because I believe in this concept of the mastermind. When you put two people together, two things together, even if it's like polar opposites. So many roofers hate solar guys because they put penetrations in the roofs, the solar panels leak, solar salespeople lie about how much money that they can save, and they do whatever they can to get a deal, almost predatory timeshare type sales tactics.
Yeah.
And I'm an aggressive salesperson, but I have an incredible offer. I'm helping the person for what the insurance company allows. We have a contract, and the money that they're exchanging hands, I'm providing a great service. They're getting value added, and it's usually something that is a necessity. Like solar is not a necessity, but I can tell you that solar taught me how to be a better retail contractor. Kind of doing the insurance work my whole life, I got dependent on insurance companies, their process, and what that can change. Like anytime in business you're too dependent on one thing, you'll be exposed. And so, especially with private equity wanting a faster, payment term, the average bill sometimes with insurance work can be 60 days, 90 days. And when you're scaling a big business, you want the bills to be paid within 30 days. And so that's where I shift from insurance to retail was so important. Solar helped me learn how to use payments. Even though we go through the insurance process, we get people through the funding process many times, offer them zero payment, zero interest, just so that they can expedite having to wait on their insurance. And that changed my business. So just learning from the other industries, I always was like, Facebook and the door-to-door world, and these guys that basically when Facebook and the groups started coming together, I was a part of the early door-to-door con movement. Met this guy named Taylor McCarthy, and he was from solar. He came into my world and I taught him how to be a coach. He taught me solar. I taught him roofing. He went on and created his own little movement of sales training for solar guys. And I don't know, he kind of showed me that roofing was the missing component. And so basically, I think that a solar guy without a roofer is incomplete, and a roofer guy without a solar partner is incomplete because, I mean, the thing is the grid is old, and when solar makes sense, if the person's ethical, it can be a great deal for the homeowner. And so there's just a lot of people out there that give roofing and solar a bad name. And, that's why you have to just let all of your actions you be judged by the fruit of your labor, not by the, what people say or what you say.
Yeah. One of my first mentors told me a long time ago, he's like, if you make one person mad, they're going to tell 100 people. You make one person happy, they're going to tell two or three. So the law of averages is against you to make sure you always serve the customer with your best possible effort, period. And I know that's how you've kind of built your business. In the roofing world itself, the trades businesses itself has shifted. In that it used to be solely hammers and nails, and now it goes what they call it, brick and mortar to click and order. In many respects, now you can do estimates, remotely and satellites and all this kind of stuff. With all that in mind, what do you think is missing from a modern day roofing company today?
Most of all, it's the thing that we're doing right now. It's telling your story. It's being authentic. It's just understanding that we are interesting. We're on roofs. We're fixing big problems. We're Bob Villa in the neighborhood. People want to know what's going on. They're curious. You don't really have to be some major personality. You just have to document the problems you're solving, the jobs that you're doing, and people will pay attention. And I think the main thing is if you want to hire top talent, that's most of them's biggest problem is they can't find the people. And they want consistent customers. You've got to learn that telling your story is a must in 2024 and 2030. Building a community means, something different. It means that you become a social sales king along with, not just the clicks of Google, but also with the Facebook and the Instagram, organic content, retargeting it with ads geographically, using AI, both to find your customers, to follow up on your customers, to set appointments. And, this global world we live in of just being able to work with all different types of people. It's about being able to, how do you put it all together and create as many leads as possible? Because if you want more business, that usually is the first problem. Although most of the time when you have a broken human being or a broken business and you give them more leads, you just can create a big mess.
Yeah, no, and that's another thing that you and your team are really good at is actually finding top tier talent. You guys are just as good at finding amazing salespeople that actually give a crap and actually care as you are at finding leads to actually generate customers. How do you, and I think this is a good question for, I think, any business owner that has a sales team. How do you properly delegate and hold salespeople accountable in today's market times? How are you kind of navigating what a solid salesperson is versus one that's not going to work out?
So first of all, it's all about the culture. It's about attracting, like for me, personal development is the number one core value. So whether that's mentally, physically, spiritually, looking for people that are going to be better the next day than they were the day before. That's the predominant thing that I'm trying to create, that I'm raising the status for blue collar, that I'm trying to create basically this path. And the reality is like, how do you do it in today's marketplace? Sharing your story helps people buy in and see why they're doing it, and giving them a place to grow. So you have to give them a clear path. It means, basically, if people can start their own roofing company, how do they go through, let's just call it jujitsu, a white belt, a blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, black belt, and each earning, whether it's their first 100 grand, first 250, first 500, first $1 million plus. This is where most people really fail, is they're so worried about the problems that we solve, because as contractors, we only get paid based on the problems that we solve, that they forget about having a big enough dream, that you have to sell your dream has to be big enough that their dream fits inside of it. And what exactly is the path to get it? And I think what people really fail at is, okay, the keys to having a good sales organization is all about the same principles of Alabama football or Ohio State football. Winning attracts more winners. So you go out there, you put up numbers, you document it on social media, you bring a camera. Hell, there's these meta glasses now. You can just document everything without thinking. Even if you're a contractor up on a job working with your hands, the interactions with customers, the interactions, people love it. They're going viral, 1 million views. And it's not even like real thought out content. It's real natural, organic. And that's what people love. And so people just forget. And I always just like look at these guys like Grant Cardone, or I look like at these different content creators. And the one thing is like, I tried to be them. I tried to be basically the sales trainer, the coach, when in reality, I was the second generation roofer that helps roofers and other blue collar entrepreneurs. And when we're out there fighting insurance companies, fixing jobs, buying properties, fix and flip, doing all this different stuff, that's almost way more interesting than anything you can talk about in a podcast studio.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. 100%.
So
real world challenges.
Go ahead.
I was just saying real world challenges.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as door to door, we got an app called Roofing Redline. We literally use AI to measure the roofs. We make it so simple that a bartender could become a roofer. They follow a simple set of instructed pictures for an insurance claim. They have an instant roof measure. Anybody can come in within a few days and get quotes to people within 24 to 48 hours because of the technology. And then the sales training, like not just me teaching people, but we've made AI Lee, a GPT Lee, and an AI engine that will record all the conversations and spit back literally the proper rebuttal. And then, of course, it comes down to the community, the church, like the weekly calls. You might sound like a cult talking like this, but this is really what it takes to make a good sales organization. And so you drive them better with recognition than you do with fear. So it's the quality of your gamification. We're running something called the National Roofing League. We got a contest to Puerto Rico, but it's March Madness seeding. They get points for different levels of activity, not just closing deals. And essentially, everybody loves the gamification of the fact that everybody's getting ranked based on their score over the next 2 weeks. Then 4-man teams. We're going to break up veterans and real deal guys, rookies and sophomores. We're going to evenly balance the teams. And then based on the 2 weeks of seeding, we're going to take basically 1 versus 8, the good teams versus the bad teams. Dude, we're going to throw out basically, a lot of different cool incentives, but it's more about the gamification that makes knocking 50 doors a day even more fun, because we don't love the doors. What we love is the end result. We don't love the rejection, the humiliation, or somebody being negative to you. But in the end, we know that usually whenever there's a big adversity, whenever there's a big test, that there's a big reward right on the other end of it. And I just say that basically before, and also there's levels to it. there's better door-to-door organizations than me, guys that have thousands of people. And I look at their organizations, I think, how do they scale it? And what are they doing with getting into the youth and staying young in their organization and constantly having just this assembly line of new blood to train, to give them a place to grow.
Yeah.
And I think nothing becomes dynamic until it's clear, but getting clarity on the path, the gamification, the rewards, how they go through the belt system. Then it's your culture, your calls, your training, and then the individual sales leader who's really showing you their first 5, 10, 15 deals and what's your culture like.
Yeah.
And that's where basically you recruit more guys in the business, you turn the good sales guys into leaders, and you fire the people that don't align with core values, and it's that simple.
Yeah. I think another thing that makes you very unique from what I've experienced, especially in the trades, blue collar area specifically, is you're thinking way outside the box. You're breaking the mold with innovation, with everything from using AI to how you attract sales talent, to the school you built, to the apps you're building. Has that always been natural for you to always lean into?
No, it's not anything that I can take credit for. Got to give glory to God and Jesus, because let me tell you something. I did not start doing it this way. I'm nothing but I failed out of college. I've been to AA. I've been nearly almost divorced many times. When I met my wife, started cleaning up my act.
Yeah.
And we've been married 13 years. But it really comes down to like my higher purpose of helping people in the roofing business and teaching has been the one thing that saved me. And, whenever things got tough, like my uncle was my hero. He died of suicide. And at his funeral, I saw all the people he helped. And I realized, okay, the legacy he left was education. I'm going to carry the torch. That's when I just followed this path. I called Grant Cardone to sell him a roof. I got sold training. And then in order to keep up with this $10,000 a month coaching habit, I had to start coaching. And I wasn't really in a place where I could only help people do door-to-door insurance. I was 8 to 10 million a year. There's a lot of people I could help, but there's a lot of people that were way above where I was at.
Sure.
And I had to learn a lot of things. But over the time period, I invested $1 million in coaching, and I started learning from the other industries, and I started learning from the best of my own industry. And this is where God really went to work on me, because, this is where, reconnection with my higher power. This is where, getting in the best physical shape of my life. This is where, my company went from good to great. But it's this principle that every week we have this church where I'm giving weekly calls, where I'm helping people through this, and I have to master the system better to teach it. Sometimes people make my system better and make me get better at my system. I've brought retail into the game. I've brought solar into the game. We've really expanded our commercial division, but each layer to it, each guy that I might work with and contractor I might coach, I never really thought I did it because they made me better. And it was a hard trade-off, because I had to, when you split focus, do you build a roofing business or do you coach roofers? I call it Captain Save a Roofer. Like they don't want to be saved. They don't want to be saved.
Yeah.
But I'm running around here, instead of worrying about my business, helping them, and for peanuts, because I can go sell roofs for the same amount of money, but because I like it, because it's my calling, I'm running around doing it. I'm always asking myself, why? I'm asking Jesus, why?
Yeah.
And it wasn't my idea that private equity would go all in on roofing. It wasn't my idea that this pipeline would turn into mergers and acquisitions. We acquired 3 companies. Now I'm following the same footprint of Tommy in roofing, Tommy Mello, partnering with garage door companies, creating a platform business, selling at a very high multiple. And it really does come down to, that is me just doing what I feel like the next right thing in my purpose is, and following the path. But I cannot take credit saying that I had a plan to get to $1 billion. Now I know I can get to $1 billion, and I think it's crazy. But at the same time, what else am I going to do? I love scaling and growing roofing companies. I love home. I want to do it for the rest while I'm on this earth. And I don't ever want to stop. And I want to take the money and put it into real estate. And I'm sure I'll slow down, but why would I not want to be sort of like I don't know, an example. Like I feel like my someone said, Lee, your business card is our RCA, so you better keep it up.
Hmm. Yeah. Wow.
Because I mean, how many of the guys on the internet are talking about building a business, but they didn't do what you did.
Yeah. Yeah. 1,000%. Well, and I think a lot of people are scared to go at that level. I know I shared with you before we popped on that, I started and founded and now exited an exterior service company that I built over the course of 25 years. And when I first started the company, it was about necessity. It was about just feeding myself, getting shelter. Then it became very quickly, okay, well, I think I can compete. Oh, I think I can dominate. Oh, wait a minute. I have to become a better leader. I got to become a better teacher. I got to become a better business operator. It's these different evolutions, right? And it kind of brings me to my next question, which is, what do you think is still missing from the trades? We can use roofing as our anchor, but what do you think is still missing even in today's time from the trades business model?
The number one core value I live by, if you look into the real estate space, you will see it everywhere. Personal development is all in the real estate space.
Mm-hmm.
It is all over it. It is not in the trades. People don't understand that your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, your ability to run your business,
Yep.
it's your freedom. And you should constantly pay yourself to be in the rooms. It's almost like somebody was making fun of me. Like, it's like y'all are in a fraternity again. You're just paying for your friends, paying to be in the rooms. But you don't understand how much this has made my world so much of a smaller place.
Yeah.
And it's like if there's a big event coming up in Salt Lake, and the VIP at the house is $10,000 a ticket, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm bringing me and my wife, and my
Mm-hmm.
wife was like, "Why are you spending 20 grand?" And it's like, "I'm not spending this money, baby. God is going to bless us with this."
Yeah. Yeah. It's called investment. Well, and I'll tell you this much. So I got asked by James Hardy Building Products, right, which was one of our primary vendors back in the day. Well, still is really, but I actually just spoke at their sales conference not that long ago. And over the decade, I've gotten to know these guys really well, and they've gotten to know me. And they've used to come in my business all the time, like, "What's your secret sauce? How come you are able to do X, Y, and Z?" We look across the country; it's not happening everywhere. It's happening in very select areas. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I guess I kind of realized that I wasn't really building a siding company. I was building a personal development company masquerading as a siding company. So like all of our production meetings that we started at the beginning, there was a teaching component on leadership, about team building, about collaboration, about scaling, about cost management, about data control, all that kind of stuff. And to your point, most people don't understand, if they hang around with 5-figure earners, they end up building 5-figure businesses. They hang around 6-figure earners, they build 6-figure businesses. They hang around 9-figure earners, they build 9-figure businesses. That room actually does make a huge difference, because that's where the unique concepts come from. That's where the unique ideas come from. That's where the strategies to make the ideas valuable and relatable. And
sometimes you need a competition. Sometimes you need someone to compete with.
Yeah.
It's a friendly, fun. If he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that helps me more than any of the other component.
Yeah. Yeah. 1,000%. When you look out into the world market now, what's next for you? Like, what are you focused on to really take this training methodology, personal development methodology, and scale that into the other organizations?
Okay, so what I feel like is my calling is to package my information in a way that the regular person, including a child, can benefit from it and value it. And I've got a little rough around the edges, and it's just about me evolving it as a communicator and as somebody that has a platform, and growing the platform to millions of subscribers. Because in reality, that is the legacy, and the legacy would be, how many lives were you able to transform? How many people were you able to help? What were they able to accomplish? And I just know, and this was because God gave me roofing, that, riches in the niches. And so whether you siding and exterior products, like I really like to help exterior contractors first. I have a coaching program, and I've partnered with other guys for inside stuff, HVAC, and I got a lot of different groups, but for those types of service businesses, I honestly, it's almost a different animal. I can help everybody. Every time I go to a mastermind, all my stuff for hiring, for marketing, for social media is always stuff that from every industry people can apply. So in the end, it comes down to the roadmap of being the example. Like I said, like you have made a 9-figure exit. That is the next thing to, essentially, I pretty much retired. My daddy's been retired for 10 years, but, getting a $200 million valuation and $100 million to put for generational wealth for me. And then my first friends and family partners, we've got 3 different companies that are going to be sharing a part of this huge windfall. I mean, this is just going to hopefully get a little bit more respect for roofing, a little bit more respect for blue collar. And so maybe as I try to make my message for people, I want to show people like roofing, siding, building, contracting is cool. And that learning with your trades is just so that you gain confidence. Then you learn, that you can communicate, and that's where you get paid. But it's essentially creating, as many lives change as much as a movement as Andrew Tate has with Hustlers University, just not necessarily Amazon stores, not digital marketing, not all these other things. Apply it to the outside world of fixing big problems for big paychecks and exterior home improvements. And you've got a Wild West industry that if you can build an 8-figure business, you can build an 8-figure net worth if the business is structured right. And, for me, it's like, okay, how many roofing companies can we scale and help become multimillionaires, the people that are in that process? Can we create the wealthiest conglomerate in this space? Can we literally be the example? And for me as a sport, the goal would be to be that guy that just keeps growing roofing companies, combining them until we literally had the market share. And I guess because I'm like driven the way that, Elon Musk is tweeting against Facebook and Instagram. They had a crash today. Did you see it?
Oh yeah. My team messaged me, hey, Instagram's down, don't post. I'm like, what? It's the whole platform? Down? Are you serious?
The whole platform. Elon was poking at him, but I mean, the deal is, it's like, I want to, if that guy can do those crazy things, it's not that I want to compare myself to him. I just know that like whatever's possible for those people, I ought to be able to get a percentage. And, for me, it's just connected to blue collars, connected to the trades. It's about lifting up and connecting people back to, home service and general contracting and roofing. And whether you just think that I'm cool and my sales strategies get your attention, or roofing is a lucrative opportunity to get my attention. See, the thing was, brother, I was just this door-to-door goofy guy. But once I figured out how to make videos, then I realized that with retail, with going and closing a financing James Hardy project, that I just had to figure out my cost per acquisition, and it was off to the races because we have really dialed in this art of scaling retail exterior home companies with Facebook video and a proven retail closing process. And that came through the mastermind, my students. I don't know. It's like, I don't ever want to stop the evolving process. And I will say the hard part about it is that like we went through a really big turn in the market. 8 insurance companies went out of control. Depreciation, something where when the insurance company owes you money, typically it used to take 30 to 60 days. These companies are out of business, took 6 to 9 months, millions of dollars, over $5 to $9 million in receivables. Really, I was going to do 30, 40% more profit last year, but it just really hampered growth. But I went through one of the roughest years, even though I had tons of opportunity, but it all came down to the number one thing, switching from insurance to retail. And this hard line that had to be navigated with a company. Because sometimes, like, to get to a 9-figure company, I'm sure your business broke one time before it sold. And at that level,
one time.
At that, one time. Well, I mean, I'm just talking about even recently, like going from 20 to 40 million, there was a break. Going from 40, 60, 70 million, there's a break. But then, really.
Well, there's always a break because of the level of sophistication to watch all the widgets.
Yeah.
Right? When you're a one-man operation, you can sit in your office and do plans and estimates and bids, and you can get on your computer, you can send the email, you can do it all in one night. You start in the 1 million, 10 million, 20, like as you escalate, you need more team, you need more sophistication. I'll tell you, just we were on a financial platform called Sage 100 for way too long. Way too long. That the entire platform is only rated for a $10 million business. We were way behind on switching that platform. And then now the new team is actually switching to a company called NetSuite, which scales with the business. Right. So that is just that one break cost me millions of dollars of mistakes from data entry errors from accounting staff, double payments of invoices, right? Not adhering, not matching POs up to the actual payable. Like silly, stupid stuff that you would think, oh, that's supposed to be on autopilot, right? It's never on autopilot. It's
Well,
always
that's what
based on
makes the most
sophistication.
money in business is the stupid little silly things that you do the same thing because you have a system, and guys like visionaries or sales guys or marketing guys, they're not the best at always checking all the little widgets.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Well, I got one of the questions I'm thinking about is you and I are now focused in the education space. Like I'm doing a different type of education now, but I am focused there. And a lot of that has to do with serving the person I used to be. That's, helping Steven that was, 18 and trying to figure it out, 22 and homeless, starting a siding company, 25, 28, 30, like so on and so forth. If you were to tour the national landscape, the Americas right now, and you get to go to a handful of high schools across all 50 states, right? What is going to be your core message to inspire that next generation about the opportunity that really is in the trade services, especially in the roofing category?
Well, my message would be like they're coming for your American dream. To buy a home, it takes a lot of money, and to get into real estate, like learning about real estate, fixing real estate, working on real estate, servicing real estate. Not only do you get to make the money, but you get to build a network.
Yeah.
And if personal development's the number one thing, we know most of the millionaires are made in real estate. We just want to play their game. So it just comes down to working outside, fixing big problems for big paychecks. We're essential. Pandemic comes, we're not getting shut down. We're AI proof. Robots aren't building roofs. And there's always going to be storms. People are always going to have to fix their leaky roofs. And so it just comes down to like, look, you get to drive around. You like the big trucks. You like the lifestyle. You like the Rolex watches that comes when you collect $1 million. It's a blue collar brotherhood here. And you know what? We do it different. We go hunting, we go fishing, we got big boats, we got airplanes, and you know what? We also give back to the community. We give a lot of jobs. We help a lot of people, do a lot of free work for people out there. And so if you want to be a part of a mission, first of all, you gotta help yourself first. It's going to take more money, and you need to learn the game of the rich people. Now, you can go to college, you can get plugged into corporate America. But I know people out there that run a business shoveling shit that service homes. I know business out there that will detail cars servicing homes. I know garage door guys. I know siding guys, roofing guys. Listen, I don't care how you service a home, window washing. Learn how to communicate, how to do a job, how to build your own name and reputation, and get yourself some reviews, get yourself some 5 stars. And forget about doing it for the man. Forget about waiting for years. Forget about all these things, because if you want to make American dream money, you're talking about $150,000, $200,000 to get started. And you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait 4 years. You don't have to go into debt. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to work hard. You're going to have to face rejection. You're going to get paid to do the stuff that no one else wants to do. You're probably too soft. You probably are too entitled. This ain't for everybody. But hey, look, dude, if you're serious, this is the path. And then the YouTube, the Instagram, the documentation, the fact that I have done all these things to just forever, for the rest of my life, when I'm convincing someone to be a tradesman, a roofer, a contractor, dude, I got that street cred.
Yeah.
And I mean, that to me is what I'm going to keep building, so that, my kids, it's really about my kids. I mean, my kids, I want them to, whether it's real estate or it's family business, or at least have this pride for what we do. And I know they do, but the reality is like, changing the narrative on that across the
Mm-hmm.
board as technology takes more jobs, as the middle class gets squashed more. I believe this is a legitimate, real important job
Yeah.
that I've been put on this earth to do.
Rock on, dude. Well, dude, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. Where can I find out more about you?
Yeah. Thank you, man. You can find me on my YouTube, Lee Haight on YouTube, Lee_Haight on Instagram. Guys, if you're a contractor and you want to double or triple sales, specifically a roofing contractor, those are the guys that I really help. Exterior guys, retail guys, my ads work. It's all about getting more leads, more salespeople. So if you go to www.tothemooncontractor.com, I can help you. And if you're just like learning the business, you want to like get into the roofing business because the roofs are paid for by the insurance. I sold Grant Cardone a roof because we got the insurance company to pay for it. We help a lot of these guys build $1 million book of business without any startup capital. Now, if you want to earn your first 100, 250,000, roofing is a great vehicle. We got a program. If you go to realroofing.com, you can get into that program for free. It's about $200 a month if you like it. But yeah, come on.
That's awesome,
Let's make some money.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. I can't wait to keep talking to you, brother.
All right. Thanks, brother.
Take it easy. See ya. I hope you liked that video. And if you did, make sure you check out this next video right here.
If you want to be successful, don't think I want to go from nothing to CEO. Go and work hard. Like we become lazy. You know what I mean?